3 more days left in this first month of the year 2026. It has been a year of chaos, a year of fear, and a year of resistance. I choose the latter. I don't know about you. We can be afraid. We can be weaponized by our fear. We can stay in our homes, or we can go out on the streets with our feet and push back against this rising trend of authoritarianism. On the Ignition News, we're here to deliver you unfiltered, uncensored news. I pick 5 to 6 stories I think you need to know about every single day to equip you to push back against this tyrannical president, but also just to be smarter. I mean, by the fact that you're watching the show or listening to the show on your favorite podcast platform, I already know you're a smart MFer. But sometimes one needs validation. Yes, sometimes one needs to know I am smart. Therefore, I watch the Ignition News. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to have you. I do have a number of stories. I actually have breaking live as we come on the air right now. We have just learned, we're getting details about this. 2 of the agents that were responsible for the shooting of Alex Preddy have been placed on leave. That's about all we know right now. But the mere fact that the 2 agents, remember, this happened on Saturday. As we report the news, it is Wednesday. The fact that it took that long, almost a week, in order to go on leave for these agents is quite honestly absurd. But, I think what it represents is a shift, a paradigm shift in resistance. Yesterday, I spoke about Minnesota as a resistance icon. And before I get into the rest of the stories today, I just want to point out that if one needs hope, one must consider that this administration is so underprepared, so uninformed, that they picked probably the worst state to have their next advance of authoritarianism. Ignoring, of course, the fact that the people who live in Minnesota are hard as fuck. These are people who voluntarily choose to live in a state that routinely gets sub-zero temperatures. It is so cold in Minnesota. These people signed up for this. Nothing the federal government has thrown at the residents of Minnesota has been successful, but Minnesota has a long history and legacy of thinking for itself, acting in the interests of its citizens, being a progressive blue state in a conservative Midwest part of the country. And quite candidly, they picked the wrong people to fuck with. Let's get on to the rest of the news today. I'm actually going to start out back to Minnesota. I do want to share with you actually firsthand accounts of people who were arrested by DHS, ICE, or CBP. This is a story out of Minnesota, so let me get into it. This is a story from Patty O'Keefe. She's a U.S. citizen and a Minneapolis resident for 14 years. She wrote about her arrest by ICE on January 11th. She and a friend were following unmarked ICE vehicles through their own neighborhood, blowing whistles and honking horns to warn their neighbors about immigration. They weren't blocking anyone. They were not threatening anyone. They were exercising legally their First Amendment right to monitor government agents and warn their community. Now, here's what happened next in their own words. An ICE agent walked to the back of her car and pepper sprayed into the vents of her windshield. When they didn't immediately turn around, agents smashed their car windows, dragged them out, and arrested them. There was no warning. There was no request to exit the vehicle, just pure violence. They separated her, put her alone in a car with 3 agents, and that is when the taunting began. One agent took a photo of her and showed it to the others, laughing. Another called her ugly. Then, referring to Renee Good, the woman killed by ICE on January 7th, an agent said, and I quote, "You guys gotta stop obstructing us. That's why that lesbian bitch is dead." That was a federal agent. A masked, armed federal agent telling an American citizen that another American citizen deserved to die. O'Keefe was held for 8 hours. She asked 4 times to make a phone call. She was denied every time. She had to beg for water. She was extremely stressed, obviously, and she was released without charges because she didn't do anything wrong. But here's what she saw during those 8 hours at the Whipple Federal Building. She passed holding cells filled with people. Oh, look at that. TikTok restricted my audience. She passed holding cells filled with people who appeared to be of Latino and East African descent, men, women, and children, some reportedly as young as 5 years old, screaming, wailing, and pleading. And nearby, agents were laughing. She writes, "All of our lives are a joke to them." That's not a rhetorical question. Oh, she asks, are our lives a joke to them? That's not a rhetorical question because the answer, based on the evidence we have, is yes, it is. I just want to point out really quickly, as I read this story, um, once I get clear of this fascism, I am going to aggressively pursue legal action against the new owners of TikTok, these billionaires. I'm going to aggressively, along with other citizens group, pursue legal action against TikTok for what they are doing right now, because there are many legal venues to pursue and to sue this company for what they are doing. I am reporting on true information about what is happening in the United States of America. This is fact, it's truth. There is no commentary being provided in that segment. But as we were reporting live, the TikTok feed was censored from the FYP. I got a warning for reporting this information that the federal government reported. So my hands are a little bit busy right now because I'm fighting this tyrannical government. But when we win, and we will win, just let me be very clear with you, we will win. When I'm done, I will sue the shit out of the new owners of TikTok, because this is America. There are constitutionally protected rights. And filtering a live stream, by the way, a source of revenue for my company because I report on truth, the actions of the federal government, yeah, that's actionable. You picked the wrong fucking person to fuck with, is the brief version of it. Somebody doing their little TikTok shop live showing off their new pink shirt. Yeah, you restrict their live because they drop an F-bomb a few times. Okay, no problem. You picked a 25-year civil rights advocate. Good job, TikTok. Anyways, moving on to the next story. I asked this question yesterday, but we need to know the answer to, where is Alex Preddy's phone? Where's his phone? We obviously saw the federal government accused Alex Preddy of going at federal agents with a firearm. But what we all saw with our own eyes was the fact that he was holding a cell phone, lawfully recording the activities of these federal agents. What we now don't know is where his phone went. We learned initially that it was given to the FBI, that the FBI conducted an initial field investigation, but then they handed that phone off to HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. This is a division of DHS. DHS has the phone, but what we now know, thanks to exclusive reporting, is that there is no trail of evidence for the phone. There's no chain of custody for where that phone is or what happened to that phone. We don't know where the video is, what is on that phone. And Alex Preddy's family deserve to have that information, if not only to have the memories of their son, their family member, back to them. But I think it raises serious questions about what the government is doing with that information, and if they have destroyed evidence, if they are hiding evidence, and what they're doing with that phone. It's a reasonable question. We deserve to know the answer. Next story. Welcome to the Ignition News, everyone. As TikTok, the garbage app from hell, has shown us today, we need you to find us on other locations. We are streaming live on Substack, YouTube, also on Twitch, but we stream still over on this pathetic garbage little app called TikTok, while we can, until we're censored for speaking the truth. All that is to say, if you haven't yet followed us on your favorite podcast platform, please do that, because podcasting for some reason remains an unobstructed bastion of truth, and we need to continue to find each other. What's very clear is that the billionaires, whether that's in the interest of AIPAC, or whether that's in the interest of financial interests of people like Elon Musk or Larry Ellison or Andreessen Horowitz, who now owns a significant part of the app, it's clear there are things they don't want us to talk about. So we need to find each other where we can. Let's move on to the next story. This was the attack on Ilhan Omar. Last night, January 27th, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was holding a town hall. It was her first public event since Alex Preddy was killed. A 55-year-old, Alex Kazmierzak, stood up, rushed to the stage, and sprayed Omar with an unknown liquid from a syringe. Security tackled him immediately, and he was arrested and charged with third-degree assault. Omar continued her town hall. This is a quote from the Congresswoman. "These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it. We are Minnesota strong, and we stay resilient in the face of whatever they might try to throw at us." Hours later, the President of the United States had a town hall, or an interview, I should say, with ABC News. He was asked about the attack, and here's what the President of the United States said. "I don't think about her. I think she's a fraud. She probably had herself sprayed, knowing her." The President of the United States, everyone. He is accusing Ilhan Omar of getting herself sprayed with an unknown chemical agent in order to generate attention. I think what's quite obvious is this is a continued representation of the mental and cognitive decline of the 47th president of the United States. Anthony Scaramucci, you remember the Mooch? Remember that guy from the first administration? He was actually on an interview yesterday, and he's someone who knows the president perhaps better than many people. And unlike the cowards, the jellyfish-spined individuals in the current administration, he's actually comfortable speaking out against the president. And he doesn't think that the president's going to be able to cognitively finish his term. He's predicting about 2 years. And when you see garbage like this happening on national news where the president of the United States makes an outrageous statement like that, well, Mooch, I tend to agree with you. So let's be very clear, though. A sitting U.S. Congresswoman was physically attacked at a public hall, and the president of the United States, without seeing the evidence, accused her of staging the attack. These are the kinds of things that we have to talk about here on the Ignition News, if not for anything else other than history. And when a congresswoman representing the community currently under attack by the federal government calls for accountability, someone attacks her with a chemical spray, and the president of the United States suggests that she did it to herself. Welcome to the Ignition News, everybody. It's good to have you. Please do follow us on your favorite platform. I do want to throw a quick plug out there. If you like what we're doing and you want to support the show, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/Rebel Radio. The Ignition News is part of the Rebel Radio Network. It's good to have all of our friends and family. We appreciate you. Let's talk about what good luck to TikTok is what I'm going to say right now. Good luck to us staying live on this platform. Here's where it gets even more interesting with our cognitively declining orange makeup wearing president. On Tuesday morning, Trump was asked by reporters if he believed Alex Preddy was an assassin, as his chief ghoul, Stephen Miller, had claimed. He said no, and then he added this. President of the United States said, "You can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't. You can't walk in with guns. You can't do that." A reporter brought up the Second Amendment, and then he doubled down. You can't walk in with guns. You can't do that. The president of the United States, elected with a vast mandate from the alt-right conservatives, gun right advocates, just said that a lawfully armed American citizen who had a legal concealed carry permit and was exercising his First and Second Amendment rights, can't do that. It's completely wrong, obviously. In Minnesota, it is perfectly legal with someone carrying with a carry permit to bring a loaded firearm to a protest. You can even bring guns into the Minnesota State Capitol building if you have a license. But the sitting president of the United States is having a real mask-off moment. He doesn't like guns, and he wants to take them from you if he can. And if he can, he will take them from you. Think about the hypocrisy. The administration removed the Surgeon General's advisory identifying guns as a public safety issue. A federal appeals court just ruled that California's ban on openly carrying firearms was unconstitutional. And of course, Republicans have spent decades advocating for guns, gun rights whatsoever. I mean, look what happened with Sandy Hook. It was truly the low point in American history when it comes to guns, gun rights, gun safety, and of course, our children. If we weren't going to make a stand then, it doesn't seem that we're ever going to make a stand. But perhaps this president feels differently. But Republicans don't. Thomas Massey from Kentucky said, carrying a firearm is not a death sentence. It is a constitutionally protected, God-given right. Okay, Thomas. And if you don't understand this, you have no business in law enforcement. He's getting a lot of pushback from this, as he should. But I don't think this is the end of it. Let me be very clear with you. I think that this president will take guns from people if he's given the opportunity. I think an incident like what happened in Minnesota, had it gone any differently, would have been the situation where Miller or the president did try to do that, if not for, quote, radicals alone, right? Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed 2 people during the 2020 protests in Wisconsin. He was acquitted. When the president met with Kyle Rittenhouse, he called him a, quote, nice young man and defended his actions as self-defense. Alex Preddy did not have a gun in his hand. He had a phone in his hand, a phone which is now missing. Alex Preddy was disarmed by federal agents before they killed him. If anyone assassinated anyone, it was the federal agents who shot Alex Preddy in the back. Our last story today may not seem like it's tying everything together, but it's about Amazon. It's called Project Dawn. Amazon has accidentally bungled a series of layoffs. Here's what happened. On Tuesday afternoon, Amazon sent an email to employees at AWS, Amazon Web Service. It was from Colleen Aubrey, a senior vice president of Applied AI Solutions. The email congratulated employees for their work and then said that impacted employees in the US, Canada, and Costa Rica had already been informed of their layoffs. But the problem was nobody had been informed of any layoffs. The email was sent as a mistake. It was supposed to go out this morning, Wednesday morning, after a round of layoff notification. Amazon quickly canceled those layoff meetings. Now, how's that? This is emblematic not only of the massive wave of AI destroying jobs in America, but also how the enshittification of this country's tech companies is even cascading out to how they employ people. But what we do know now is that apparently Amazon is announcing about 16,000 layoffs. 16,000 more Americans without a job in this president's America, in this president's great economy. Are we great yet? That's the simple question I have for you. 16,000 more Americans apparently, and well, there are, to be clear, there are some Canadian citizens that will be impacted by this, and there are some Costa Ricans who will also be impacted by this. Yeah, 16,000 people. Wonder what the average salary is. Yeah, well, that's a story for another day. The point being, whether it's TikTok being a garbage app that censors you for speaking the truth, or Amazon, which, can we just acknowledge quickly? I'm going on a sidetrack. Can we just briefly acknowledge how much worse Amazon has become in the last, let's just say 4 years, especially? How much worse that company has become, whether that's abysmal customer service or shipping promises that they can't honor, or their constant acquisition of other companies, or the way, of course, that they treat their employees. I can't believe that this company, which is kind of heralded as one of America's best companies, if this company were to start today as the company it is now, there's no way it would be successful. There's no way. Side note, I order occasionally equipment for my job, and the company I use to do that, they now ship with Amazon. They use Amazon's now in the shipping business. And so I stopped buying product from that company because Amazon is part of this capitulation of what is making America terrible. And of course, Jeff Bezos paid apparently $40 million for this garbage documentary about the First Lady. Paid $1 million to the inauguration fund, was one of these men with all the resources. All of these men, all of their resources. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook. Tim Cook, one of the first openly gay CEOs in the history of America, who benefited from all of the rights that all of us so deeply fought for, who grew up in the South, who got a great education on the back of American infrastructure, the American education system, who grew to revolutionize logistics at one of the largest companies in the world. By all rights, exactly the kind of American success story that we might herald as a true champion of the people. A gay man from the South who becomes CEO of one of America's largest companies. And the moment he's supposed to return all of that, he buckles like a jellyfish, folds like a cheap suit, brings the president a gold trophy with his hands shaking. Do you remember Tim's shaking hands? Do you remember how pathetic that was to watch? This man with all of his resources, all of the billions of dollars, trillions of dollars of Apple, The best lawyers in the entire country work for Apple. He has the most powerful people at his disposal. If anyone could stand up to the president, the tyrannical president, it is Tim Cook, this gay man, the first gay CEO I ever knew, this powerful man who benefited from all of us with his fucking hands shaking, giving a gold trophy to the president. A coward. Tim Cook is a coward. He betrayed the gay community. He betrayed Apple employees, who are some of the most diverse employees in the entire country. Apple celebrates its diversity. Apple recognizes its diversity as its asset. Steve Jobs understood that you hire the best people who make the best products, and you create things that put a dent in the universe. And given the opportunity, Steve Jobs would never. What a disgraceful legacy Tim Cook leaves of that company. And of course, he's retiring. He's going to get a golden parachute. He's a billionaire. But that's the point, friends. And that's where we're going to close the show out. All of these men, and it is men doing this. There's plenty of MAGA women causing plenty of chaos. Don't get me wrong. But all of these powerful men who all benefited from your labor, from your taxes, from your toil, for your feet on the street in protest. They are cowards. The real heroes of America are the everyday citizens fighting back even though we struggle. And we're paying the ultimate price right now, whether that is our jobs, increasing prices for everything, being unable to afford even the basics now, worrying about things like shelter. Can we afford to live in a house? Can we afford our increasing power bill? Groceries, everything's skyrocketing. And the difference between $6 eggs or $16 eggs for Tim Cook is nothing. First of all, I don't think he's ever been to a grocery store. The difference to someone like Tim Cook, when gas is $8 a gallon or gas is $2 a gallon, it is infinitesimally nothing. It's nothing. But for you to have to pay more, work more, get less, be sicker, be less safe, less secure, be more in fear, worry about your children every day, and then still go out and fight for your neighbors, for your community, you are heroes. You are patriots. You are what the real America is. And I salute you. It's January 28th. This is what authoritarian countries look like in practice. It's not just big dramatic moments, it's the daily things that they use to try to break us down. Alex Preddy at a protest. Patty O'Keefe sitting in her car. Ilhan Omar sprayed with a chemical blamed by the president. Amazon employees who work for the richest man in history getting an accidental email about their resignation. This is what we're living in right now. And the fact that you persist and that we still resist is truly an American story for the decades. So just like that, friends, we will end the show for today, but we will be back tomorrow, and we will be back on the streets. We will be there with our feet. I appreciate you. That's the show, everybody.